straight 10 minutes. The sun is setting here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, but the action is just starting to heat up inside the Footprint Center for the 2022 AVP Phoenix Championships. Crowd getting settled to see quite the matchup. Hello and welcome, I'm Dane Bland alongside Cameron Irwin, and wow, do we have a matchup for you. The number 1 and 2 seeds, but they are fighting for a third place spot. They have been eliminated from winning the championship, but we've been waiting for this matchup. This is going to be a good one.
Oh yeah, 1 versus 2. We got Cannon and Sponcil versus Hughes and Kolinske, and what's wild is you look at the women's draw to this point, and we've had only sweeps, and there have been quite a few upsets here on day number 2. So if you're looking at it in terms of seeds, 1v2, well, maybe it's Cannon and Sponcil, maybe not.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting tournament on the women's side. A lot of upsets. That's why we're looking at the 1 and 2 seeds fighting for the number 3 spot. Let's head down to the sand to get the introductions of the players with Mark Sherman.
It is time for the third place matches, ladies and gentlemen. Man, what a great time we have had today. We've had a lot of 3-setters. We've had some very, very entertaining matches, and it is time to get into the third place round. These two teams lost earlier today, but they have got a lot to play for right now. So let's meet these two teams, shall we? This first team coming in as the number 2 seed, and this first player out of Rochester, New York. She is an absolutely huge blocker at the net. So good, ladies and gentlemen. And when she swings, she is ready to fire the cannon at any moment, especially off of this bouncy sand. I want to see some fireworks from you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Therese Cannon. And her partner, she is the Flying Squirrel. And there have been a lot of moments, ladies and gentlemen, in this match. Earlier today, Sarah, you're full body like 12 inches off the ground. I love it. Nobody else can do it but you. Ladies and gentlemen, out of Phoenix, Arizona, and Veritas Prep Academy, out of RPM Sand, it's Sarah Sponcil. And their opponents, first player we're going to meet, coming out of San Diego, California, in Pepperdine University, one of the premier blockers here on the AVP Tour and on the F5VB World Tour. Let me hear it loud and proud, Phoenix for Kelly Kolinske. And her partner coming out of Costa Mesa, California, out of the volleyball powerhouse of modern-day high school, the University of Southern California, a many-time national champion, woman of Troy, an AVP champion, ladies and gentlemen. And one day we might see her represent the USA in the Olympic Games. I'm just saying. I see that's where it's headed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Sarah Hughes.
Alrighty, we are all set to go. The number 1 and 2 seed on the left side will be Sarah Hughes, Kelly Kolinske on the right side, Therese Cannon and Sarah Sponcil. This should be a battle. These teams have played 4 previous times, with Hughes and Kolinske victorious 3 out of those 4. So this is for a third place here at the Phoenix Championships. Both these teams lost earlier today, and that bumped them into this position right here, fighting for that number 3 spot. Still respectable, but not maybe the prize that they came to pick up here in Phoenix.
And the nice thing is, though, everybody's walking away with the prize, right? So it's a matter of the difference between 3rd and 4th place. So still earning some cash are these two teams. I also have to give a nice little shout out to DJ Rouchet right now, coming out with the Shania Twain out the gates. You got these country music lovers ready to rock and roll. There's a few of them down on the sand, all 4 of these girls loving it. That's how they spend some of their free time, going to concerts.
You too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Shania was my very first concert I ever went to in person.
No way.
Yeah. That's a Mother's Day gift to Mama. We all ended up going.
Here comes Sponcil. Little roll shot over the top right there. And Sponcil and Therese, they ended up losing in the semifinal to Kelly Chang and Betsy Flint. It was 21-16, 21-18 in straight sets, as you were mentioning, Cameron. A lot of straight set victories in this one. 5
to this point on the women's side, all of them going in straight sweeps. But you know what I'm most excited about with this matchup, and I think everybody, anytime you see these two defenders out on the court, they can dictate terms. So often we talk about the blocking presence, and without a doubt, that comes in at clutch moments. But I just love to see how these two defenders find unique ways to kind of create different opportunities and create points with their defensive play.
Kolinske goes for the back line and ends up just long. So make it 3-2. Sponcil Cannon early here in the first set.
Both these teams looking to settle in a little bit. We talked about so many upsets, right? With both the men's and the women's side seeing upsets throughout the day to then get into the final. Both these teams having played just one match and kind of figuring out the field here in the Footprint Center.
Nice up by Hughes. Laying it out is Kolinske, and they somehow save this one. Sarah Hughes finds herself up at the net as a blocker. We don't see that often. And Therese Cannon bombing it by.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the way Therese Cannon responds right here in that last matchup, the semifinal. She had a little bit of a hard time with her serve reception. She'd be the first to tell you that. And so it's going to be interesting to see how she kind of steps up to the challenge, because you know she's going to be targeted at times.
Yeah, it wasn't her best semifinal. She would love a do-over for sure. I mean, I think there was 8 hitting errors early on, and that's very uncharacteristic of her. So she's trying to right the ship here in this third place match. Sarah Sponcil from right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Big hit on the right side by Hughes.
And actually, they faced off against Kelly Chang and Betsy Flint in that semifinal. It wasn't so much the hitting errors as it was the service pressure, right? There was tons of pressure coming her direction. She just couldn't quite get into rhythm. So she wasn't making a ton of errors. She just wasn't necessarily siding out at a high rate.
And on the other side of the net, Sarah Hughes and Kolinske, they ran into a buzzsaw, and Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss, who were really on fire. They lost that one, 21-12, 21-17. And that set up our final, which will be later on between Cloth and Nuss and Chang and Flint.
At the 6-4 mark, it's also fun to kind of keep your eyes locked around Phoenix. Everyone coming out, not only celebrating the 12 hours of volleyball coverage, 12 plus to be honest with you, but also celebrating the great Casey Patterson. We had the retirement ceremony for him down on the sand.
That was really cool.
Oh, I was tearing up, as was this lady right here, Sarah Sponcil. We passed by each other as she was going to warm up. She goes, "Great, I was just sobbing and now I got to go play a game."
Yeah, it was just fantastic, video that was put together, not only highlighting him, but honoring him, and the legendary Chris McGee putting on quite a presentation.
Oh, man. He'll get you every time.
Back set for Sponcil. Tries to go cross court. Sarah Hughes. She's going to go cross body from the left side and get that ball to the sand quickly, make it 7-6. Sponcil and Cannon with the lead.
Both Sponcil and Hughes do a really nice job with their flexibility, we'll call it. Not only in their defense, but also even on their attack. Sometimes kind of being off balance or getting their body into a weird position, but still able to put the ball away. You saw that on that last swing from Sarah Hughes, who kind of contorted herself to be able to hit crossbody down the line.
And a beautiful dig by Hughes and a put away. All of our next level data powered by Connexon. You see all 4 players have sensors on their bodies to track all of their moves. We like to look at that vertical leap and the explosiveness of these athletes. Sponcil with a poke shot, and eaten up by Hughes, but it's Therese Cannon up at the net, making up for it. Nice block.
Yeah, beautifully done by Therese Cannon. I love to see her, especially in transition, just working hard to get back up to that net and make her presence felt. You see the numbers for her. First in kills at 16.8. Also in aces 1.9. She's got a tough one. Great dig.
Nice up, Kolinske, and wow, Therese Cannon really making her presence felt at the net here early on in this first set.
Yeah, again, it's the same thing, transition. Cannon getting up there. I like the way she waits on that ball. It's about 5 feet off the net, so it's gonna take an extra second for her, or for that ball to get to her as a blocker. She does a nice job timing that one. So often we talk about this sport being a family, a massive family, and if you got a chance to listen to Casey Patterson in his retirement speech, he talked in so much about that. Right now, everyone coming up to celebrate him just at the back of the court. It's also fun to watch. You got new little ones, Casey Patterson with 5 kids, the youngest, baby Ford. You've also got Chase Buttinger at the back of the court with his little one, little baby Beckham. This is a family just continues to grow and grow. Man, are we so grateful to be a part of it, too.
Back set to Kolinske, dug by Sponcil, but Sarah Hughes with an easy play. She's going to poke it down the line and just on the outside. She kind of did a turnaround, kind of Steph Curry after a poke shot.
Well, I think she tries to stay so deceptive, keeping those shoulders into the angle. Sometimes she gets twisted up and ends up going almost back behind her head.
8 kills for Kolinske and Hughes, 7 for Sponcil and Cannon. Nice little cut shot right there by Sponcil. Sponcil, one of the most deceptive players out there. Love her competitive fire, a 2-time national champion out of UCLA.
She was a little bit more calculated through that approach. Stayed a little bit slower, waited a second longer, got underneath of it.
Nice high hit by Kolinske right there. And that will take us to the technical timeout with Sponcil and Cannon leading by 1, 11 to 10.
A Sky Vodka and soda sounds good right about now. Opening in the AVP bars. What else sounds good? I got the sneakers. We got a lot of balls here out of the over the next few hours, so let's get started. Let's get it started.
It's Ryan Mariano of RPM Sand out here in Phoenix, coaching it up. That's the club that Sarah Sponcil played for. There you take a look at digs per match. Women this season, Sarah Sponcil 16.2, Sarah Hughes 14.6. The top 2 defenders in terms of digs per match going at it with one another here.
Well, and that's why we talked about it right at the top of this matchup, because you knew you were going to see some incredible defense flying around the backcourt. You see Kristen Nuss on the screen as well as Betsy Flint. So 4 of those defenders right there. You're going to see Betsy and Kristen coming up in the final this evening.
Namaste.
500 now for Sponcil and Cannon compared to 333 for Kolinske and Hughes.
That serve out of bounds. So Sponcil and Cannon up by 2. Seems like all 4 players kind of working themselves into a groove. Therese Cannon has been strong up at the net.
have.
Oh, looked like she was possibly over the net there. I don't know if we're going to get another look at that, but looked like Therese Cannon was getting ready to play that maybe out of the top of the net, and Kolinske got up and over. No overcall there. Sponcil goes for the corner, and that's out of bounds. So all tied up at 12.
You know, it's interesting. You see some of the matchups. The last one for these two teams is in the semifinal back in Manhattan Beach. So it's been a few weeks since they faced off. Hughes and Kolinske picking up the victory there in the semifinals. Then it was before that again in the semifinals in Hermosa Beach. It was a 3-game battle closing out at 17-15. Cannon and Sponcil picking up the win. The other 2 times they faced off were on the FIVB Tour.
Good touch by Cannon. And then she puts it away. In or out, it's going to be very close.
Both Cannon and Sponcil pointing to the line, saying that ball is absolutely in. You can actually see the ball mark right now. They're looking at it. Looks like the edge may be touching the line. See if we can dial up a replay here.
Yeah, they're seriously contemplating this one here. Thought it was in initially. Let's take a look. Here's a great look.
And I love the fact that it's playing on the Jumbotron too, just to let everybody know one more time.
Can't dispute that. As Therese Cannon goes back to serve. Cannon played her freshman season indoor volleyball at Georgetown University before transferring to USC, where then she started her beach career, and wow, has her game come a long way from Rochester, New York, to winning national championships and winning AVP championships, winning her first this year with Sponcil in Hermosa Beach.
Well, and I love the way that you just saw Kelly Kolinske come back after that ball, or that call was reversed. She came out with a massive swing. That was one of the few times you actually see that little bit of that emotional edge from Kelly Kolinske. So steady in her approach, level-headed in any given moment on the court. But I like that. Came out with a little bit extra fire on that last one.
14-all. Here comes Cannon. And off the block of Kolinske for the 15th point.
Kolinski's finding some success with that high angle shot over the top of the block of Therese Cannon. She's found it a few times to this point. And it's challenging because there's so much pace on it. It's not necessarily like she's hitting a high angle or a loop shot over the top. She's actually swinging deep into the court right there. The furthest distance you have into the cross court to work with.
Nice block by Kolinske, sealing up the line. Just nowhere to go right there. For point number 16 for Kolinske and Hughes. Rainbow shot to the corner, and Sponcil doesn't make an attempt at that one. The shot just a little bit too good.
Yeah, you gotta love the heads-up read right there from Sarah Hughes. Does a nice job recognizing the option, just getting kind of rolled back into the angle, picks up and transitions back out.
7 attacks for Sarah Hughes, 6 kills, extremely efficient.
Third place match for the guys will follow this one. And in the finals at 7:30 and 8:30.
Cameron, you've talked to a lot of the athletes. I believe a lot of them are headed to Paris next week.
That is true. Several of them heading off to Paris to play on the FIVB Tour yet again. I know Kristen Nuss and Taryn Cloth are heading that direction. Brandy Wilkerson, as well as Sophie Bukovac, already there. They're not competing in this. Team Canada. And I believe Betsy and Kelly are also heading off. So those three American teams heading to Paris.
All these teams trying to find the right combination for a run to the Olympics, which are going to be held in Paris in 2024. And of course, it'll be really exciting for American players when the Olympics come to Los Angeles in 2028.
Right in the South Bay.
That competition will actually take place at the pier in Santa Monica.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would be so difficult to
try and park, and yeah, it's fair.
And Santa Monica Pier is kind of an iconic worldwide spot.
Yeah, but Manhattan, come on now. I'm biased.
I think it would be hard.
I'm biased.
I think it would be hard to
It
accommodate.
would. It's absolutely right.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun at Olympics. I think the opening ceremonies will be at SoFi. We're very familiar with that.
You know a little something about SoFi Stadium. Currently rocking my Royal and Soul right now. The AVP logo on it.
18-16, Kolinske and Hughes with a narrow 2-point lead here. No one's really taken charge from the service line or up at the net. A lot of exchanges back and forth.
Seen Therese Cannon go option several times now, but it's been well defended, whether it's the down defense or the block right there from Kelly Kolinske.
Make it 19-16. Close serve, line to line. Seems like that's one of the preferred service areas. We have a lot of people serve right out of the middle of the court, but some love to go line to line.
Yeah, that line to line serve, shortest distance to get to the opposing passers on the other side. So it definitely puts a little bit extra strain on the serve reception. But it's interesting, you know, we've noted a few times that we've seen a lot of balls on that far side of the sideline right now on your screen, going out towards that right sideline. Apparently there's a little gust of wind that direction, the air conditioning pushing the ball, according to some of the players.
Set point for Kolinske and Hughes. Left hand dug by Hughes. And then, wow, one of the best rallies we've had so far in this one. Not just yet. Here comes Sponcil, and that ball's off the block and out of bounds. So Kolinske and Hughes can't seal the deal of this first set just yet. They'll get a couple more opportunities, but wow, what a rally.
But that's what I'm talking about. When the defense, the down defense, continues to just level up each time, extending those rallies, you're going to see it throughout the rest of this match.
And there it is on the second opportunity. Kolinske and Hughes get it done, 21-18.
Yeah, Kolinske and Hughes doing a really nice job coming back out after that loss earlier to Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss. They're looking much more like themselves, better efficiency in terms of bringing it in their side-out game.
Yeah, if you're Sponcil and Cannon, you're thinking to yourself, we got to turn it up a little bit. They'll think it over the break. Set 2 coming up.
The AVP is brought to you by Waikea Hawaiian Volcanic Water. Live Aloha, drink Waikea at waikea.com. By KT Tape, helping athletes of all levels train longer and finish stronger. By Monster Hydro, hard charging hydration. And by Wedbush, your investment partner on and off the sand.
ready for a whole new wave of White Claw. New full flavor White Claw Surf. Sensational refreshment for a taste like no other.
We all know it's a good idea to recycle. But what happens to that aluminum can or all that paper after you put it in the recycling bin? Where does it go? What does it become in its second life? See how WM is always working for a sustainable tomorrow at WM.com/stories.
It's the choices we make that define us.
Tryon Trevor's coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss.
And ultimately, the enemy is within. Some people want it. Some wish for it. But others make it happen.
Tryon Trevor's super lethal, bringing fire and passion to the court.
How will you take charge?
Back here on center court at Footprint Center. Set one is in the books, Cameron, and hitting efficiencies leaning a little bit towards Kolinske and Hughes, who got the victory in the first set.
Yeah, but more so leaning directly towards Sarah Hughes, who is currently 7 of 9 with 0 hitting errors, hitting .778. So she right now is doing a solid job. The majority of the attempts, though, coming at the hand of our partner, Kelly Kolinske, who is 9 of 21 at .286. So a little bit of a difference there between those two. The majority of the responsibility falling on that of Kelly Kolinske. She's seeing the side-out game. And Hughes making the most of opportunities in transition. Those are tough opportunities, too. That means she's in full chase mode, being able to dig a ball and put it back on the other side of the net. Sponcil seeing the majority of the side out as well. 21 total attempts for her.
Here comes Kolinske, and that ball way out of bounds. She actually hit that thing straight about 7 feet wide. Not that much angle over there. 22 attacks for Kolinske, 9 kills, 4 hitting errors. Hughes, as you just mentioned, 7 kills out of 9 attempts with no errors. And make it another attack and another kill for Hughes.
Well, and again, that just shows the body control yet one more time from Sarah Hughes. She's pulling that ball all the way from her left side, kind of leaning to her left as well, while she's airborne, trying to pull that ball back down the opposite direction.
Little back set, a little too wide, and Sarah Hughes is all over it defensively. That's way too close to the net.
Well, and this is something they'll do significantly in transition. That's that of Kolinske and Hughes, where in transition, if they get a good enough ball, they'll start to press the offense, right? They'll try and expand it. Because Sarah Hughes is so quick with her approach, they can really open up their range. That time that set was just a little too tight.
There's a ball line to line right there, it looked like, and it hit the outside of the line.
Here's the jumping numbers and jump totals. 27-39, Cannon to Sponcil. Therese Cannon, that is a tough serve with that jump float. And that's what happens when you serve tough. Good things. Another opportunity for them, cleanly put away. And we've seen Therese Cannon, she'll go with a top serve or a jump topspin serve as well, but so far been working with this float. It will get on you quick, tries to hit you high on the chest as well. That's a great example right there, even though that one just soars long, but it forces the side out to kind of have to step back, the passer to have to move and take the ball outside their body. And if it's coming straight at your chest, it requires not only moving backwards, but also opening up. It's a tough ball.
Yeah, so important to make the receiver move, not just sit there and pass the ball, short or deep. Kolinske, right over to Sponcil. That ball blocked by Kolinske. Oh, the net violation.
You know the rule, Dane.
Yep,
You get the
dig.
dig, and there's a net violation.
Just always happens that way. Here's a look at Sarah Hughes and Kelly Kolinski's results this season. They won the big one, the Manhattan Beach Open. That was their only final this year on the AVP tour, and they took full advantage of that one.
Well, that is a solid serve right there from Sponcil. We've seen her level up in terms of that category in her game. She brought it in the last match as well, even though they took the loss. Found an ace or two. Wrist away on that one.
Nice block at the net by Cannon. Nice drop, but the shot is on point. Sarah Hughes putting it deep down the line.
Yeah, you watch Sponcil's face right there. She kind of just went, well, that's a good shot, and I'm going to let that one go. Couldn't quite get to that one.
Sarah Hughes with 9 kills. Sarah Sponcil with 8 kills. And there's a double contact violation, or a lift actually is called. The ball was held a little too long. (6-4) Sponcil and Cannon leading the second set. They dropped the first set. And that ball tooled off the block and out of bounds. It's been an awesome event to this point, Cameron, and the crowd has been amazing. Volleyball alive and well in Arizona.
Yeah, without a doubt, showing up all the way this morning. They're going to be hanging out with us too. We're going to be going pretty late tonight. We're already a little bit behind schedule, but the more volleyball, the better, because again, this is the concluding event in terms of the championship. We've got another couple in terms of some different levels of series of events in the AVP, but this is the last big one, including the Gold Series events, which is what got them into this. 2 of their best 3 finishes.
Wow, what a dig by Hughes. And then chopping down the retreating Therese Cannon. That was a sharp hit. And then Hughes got underneath and actually controlled the dig. Very impressive.
Yeah, beautiful job by her, just making sure to get that little extra, reaching forward, both hands on the ball. Able to transition back out. More importantly, falling backwards too, and locating still.
Tough serve to Therese, and she tries to bang it down the line, but that one misses its target out of bounds. And just like that, we're all tied up at 7.
Yeah, trying to force Therese Cannon to have to pass that short ball, then work her feet back out. I do like the way at least she still took a swing at it, right? Recognizing I still have enough of an approach. I'm going to take a rip at this ball, even though it was an error.
Kolinske serves and runs to the net, as she always does. And Therese Cannon using the top of the block there.
Yeah, working all the way to the exterior of the court, kind of that antenna, using that as almost another blocker, working off the hands of Kelly Kolinske.
What do you think of the serve when you're the full-time blocker and you serve from cross-court to the receiver who's cross-court from where you're at, and
tough.
then you have that really
long run.
distance to run.
It's the longest distance to run on the court.
Little bump over the net there. Here comes Hughes. And make it 9-8, Sponcil and Cannon.
How fun is this, too, for Sarah Sponcil getting to play in front of her hometown crowd? I asked her before this one on Friday, and I said, so do you think there's going to be a lot of people out here? And she goes, I don't know. I hope so. Her aunt was standing right there. She goes, there's going to be a lot of people here for it. Family, friends, everybody coming out. Support the hometown kid. Betsy Flint, also a hometown kid. She'll be in tonight's final as well.
Kelly Kolinske out of Pepperdine University. She played indoor and beach. Another serve cross court, run all the way up there. Nice funnel block by Kolinske to her partner Hughes. And then Hughes gets blocked, but it's out of bounds. So make it another point for Kolinske and Hughes, who are leading now 10-9.
I mean, that's tough. You see the tight ball, and I love Therese Cannon going after the ball. But at times, when you start to do that, sometimes you'll get out of position in terms of pulling that ball back into the court because you're trying to chase it, right? And bring it back in. Nearly a perfect stuff, but just out of bounds. It's also the great attack from Sarah Hughes, who can use that block, hit it in a different trajectory, making sure that thing has to be closed up perfect.
Sponcil goes line to line, but up at the net, Therese Cannon with intention right there, throwing that ball down as a blocker.
Yeah, and not just throwing it down, because Sarah Hughes was right there. She redirected that ball.
Make it 11-10. Kolinske and Hughes trailing here in the second set.
Look at this. Troy Field having some fun, tossing out the mini balls.
Those mini balls are such a hit. I mean, everybody wants one.
Do you think they'll throw it up to us, all the way up here in the broadcast booth? Troy, look at us. No, not so much.
Yeah, we talked about Sarah Hughes and Kelly Kolinske. Their sole victory was the biggest one, the granddaddy of them all, in Manhattan Beach earlier this season.
This is the versus Hughes and Kolinske. It's now set point for Hughes and Kolinske. Out of bounds. 3 missed serves to close out set number 1. Hughes and Kolinske were just let off the hook. Set point on the other side. And instead of the angle, they work to the line. 21-11. We are going 3. Must win by 2. Betsy Flint has only hit, and she does it again. A 4-point swing. Hughes and Kolinske have mounted the comeback. What a time to get a block from Kolinske. It's match ball. From the left, it's out of bounds. Your Manhattan Beach champions, Sarah Hughes and Kelly Kolinske.
Wow, what a victory that was. That was one of the most exhilarating finals that we've seen in terms of comebacks. At 13-10, Chang and Flint were leading. We thought that was in the books almost. And then 5 points, I believe, in a row. It was over before we could blink our eyes. It was miraculous.
And in terms of, you know, history and volleyball context, was without the freeze and without side-out scoring. That means that's 5 reels, right? Like, that's wild. 5 points serving.
It's crazy.
Means you have to play defense to win those points.
And that's what they did. Kelly Kolinske coming up with some crucial plays, as well as Sarah Hughes, and now they'll have their name on that pier for eternity. What a save. Oh, and a double contact called on Kolinske. Wow, that was a quick whistle, it seemed like. As soon as it came out, I didn't notice it being that bad, but it looked like a free ball situation to score a point for Hughes and Kolinske, and that's a missed opportunity.
Good things happen when you hustle. You gotta love that right there. But that is a little bit of a newer skill, right, for both Kolinske and Hughes. They're starting to, you know, see and use their hands a little bit more often. So at times you got to take some shots, risk it to start to become that much more comfortable using those hands to be able to level up your offense.
Kolinske putting up the wall right there, sealing up the line. Maybe a little fiery after that double contact call. She's not going to show you a lot, right? She's very subdued in her approach, but you could tell she was a little irritated by that double contact call a few plays ago. 14-14 as they switch sides, and you know, we always say no good side, bad side indoor, but Cameron, you were talking about the air conditioning actually creating some artificial wind.
Well, we kept talking about how that ball seemed to be served down that right sideline and missed a few times, at least from the side of Hughes and Kolinske. And apparently there's a little bit of a draft there, so there's still something going on in terms of how that ball moves and changes here in an arena. Plays a lot more like indoor in that regard. Got to pay attention to the different lights in the ceiling, different points of reference. You may not have just one source of light like outside, but maybe 50 to deal with.
Short serve, trying to take the approach away, and a lift is called on Sponcil. That doesn't happen often. She does take the ball a little lower than normal, but she usually does not get called on it. I don't know what was different about that one.
Yeah, maybe the point in which it kind of hangs in her hands a second there. I don't know. She does have a lower contact point than most. She kind of keeps it out and away from her chest, out in front of her face, and then drops it just in front of her chin. But most of the time, it's still a relatively quick contact, so that's where it's coming out really nice and clean.
16-15, Kolinske and Hughes. 1 point advantage. And Sponcil's going to get this one up in the air. And double contact is going to be called on Therese Cannon. So,
wow, they're calling that a lift too, which is interesting. If anything, I might have thought maybe that's a double.
yeah, I thought it was called the double just by seeing the ball and the rotation.
That's what I thought too, but
you saw the lift motion from head referee Katie Meyer.
I thought I did, but I might have to see that.
Take a look at it here.
That's a great up by Sponcil, but that's quick out of the hands.
Yeah, I thought it was a double contact.
Yeah.
You said you saw the motion for the lift, but that ball came out very quickly. I don't think they would have called the lift there, but nonetheless, it's going to be a point for Kolinske and Hughes. And all of a sudden, it's 17-15, and Kolinske and Hughes just 4 points away from sealing up the match.
Well, Hughes and Kolinske have had a really solid year up into this point as well. We saw them, we talked about it at the Manhattan Beach Open. They've also played in 6 FIVB events this year, winning gold back in Brazil in April, and also finishing 5th in the World Championships. Guarantee they're looking to 2024, try and qualify into the Olympics, as is this duo. The one of them already an Olympian out on the sand. That's Sarah Sponcil, who played alongside Kelly Chang back in Tokyo 2020. This partnership getting together here for 2022. Sponcil's been phenomenal in terms of any of her partnerships, advancing to 14 semifinals. So 64% of her tournaments. And what's wild too is she just won her first AVP title. She was an Olympian before she won an AVP. That's crazy.
Yeah, she kind of did it in reverse, and she also won internationally before winning on the AVP. But She is a fierce competitor. And now another double contact. So all of a sudden, the referee has made quite a few calls, Cam.
I mean,
that's been five or six whistles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At some point, you just got to start taking out the platform. As frustrating as it is at 17-16. And I like it. Hughes again takes out the hand. She goes, try and call this.
And I think that's the best thing for a player to do is, right? Keep using those hands, keep doing what you're doing, get that confidence. But I don't think in such a small period of time I've seen so many calls on the hand.
A lot. That is a buttery set.
Oh, that's a lift.
That'll be a lift, and that'll be a block.
And it's hard because even there, you saw the concentration from Sarah Sponcil, hanging onto the ball just a little bit longer, making sure to finish that so it was perfectly clean. But at the same time, I think because that it kind of threw off the timing of Therese Cannon in terms of her approach. She got in a little bit too early, got underneath the ball, ultimately getting a block because she had plenty of space there on that set.
19-16. Here comes Therese Cannon. Kolinski's late on the block, and it ends up on their side. So point for Sponcil and Cannon, who are trying to get back in this. Kolinske and Hughes in a great position to seal this matchup. 9 kills for Therese Cannon, hitting .316. Back set for Kolinske, and Sarah Sponcil's all over it. Hughes with an incredible dig.
What a play from both Sponcil and Hughes. The overhead dig from Sponcil, though, and I love she finishes that off with plenty of pace. Instead of shooting and forcing Hughes to make a play and run, she just goes hard driven straight into the sand. This is the ball right here. Look at how pretty that thing is right over the top of her head. Nice block, too. There wasn't much room for Sarah Sponcil to go anywhere but into the angle there.
So just like that, it's 19-18. It looked like Kolinske and Hughes were kind of on cruise control. Now the pressure kind of mounts, but they do have that first set under their belt, 2 points away from sealing up the match. For Sponcil and Cannon, that's where the real pressure is, right? They're up against it. They need to win this second set if they're going to force a third.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. But at the same time, too, in terms of pressure, I mean, the pressure, the difference is, you know, some money differential. But right now, you can kind of get out there and play free, right? You're not necessarily playing for that ultimate title. So a little bit of that pressure is reduced. But the paycheck is the big one, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I think even though they're not playing for that top spot, I think some of these athletes, when they get on the court, they're going to play like they play.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they're looking at it any other way than this is just another match I need to win. And there it is. 19-all now after Sponcil and Cannon rattle off 3 points in a row.
Twirling, swirling, spinning. Sarah Sponcil coming up with the ball somehow, some way.
They go to Kolinske, tough serve. Wow. Sarah Sponcil, there's like 5 of her in the backcourt. She's getting everything up right now.
Well, and she's kind of sitting heavily right now into the angle, just digging overhead, whatever Kelly Kolinske can toss her direction.
Set point. Kolinske desperately needs a side out and doesn't look like she's going to get it here. It's Sponcil.
And they're calling a double. Oh. Wait, what was it called? Oh, they're calling 4 touches.
Wait, what?
Calling 4 touches, saying Therese Cannon touched that ball off the block, and then they recycle it back out with 3 more contacts.
It's very close. That's a tough one. I guess it's right in front of the head referee, so I guess she saw a touch, and that slows the momentum. Wow, that's a big point, right? That was to seal the set.
Massively so.
20 all here. Sarah Hughes goes to Sponcil. And a little left hand over the top.
On a platter.
Yeah.
She hit that off the heel of her hand. Wonder what she's serving.
Set point. And that ball just out of bounds. Kolinske letting that go, just barely, having great court awareness right there. We're all tied up at 21. Remember, it was 19-16. Kolinske and Hughes were in the driver's seat. Looked like things were wrapped up, and then a 4-point run for Sponcil and Cannon. Nice pass, little back set. Oh, wow, miss hit by Therese Cannon.
Yeah, but that was tough right there. That set getting pushed all the way to the right side, which is the play they were looking to run. But a little bit too tight.
Great dig by Hughes. Sponcil to the corner. Kolinski's gonna have an opportunity to win it. And there it is, straight down the line, and somehow, some way, Hughes and Kolinske get back on track and end up winning set number 2 to wrap things up in straight sets. So Hughes and Kolinske, the #1 seeded team here at the Phoenix Championships, end up in 3rd place.
A wild finish for the #1 seed. Just staying so gritty against a very, very fun defensive team on the other side. But you gotta love the way that Kelly Kolinske and Sarah Hughes just stepped up when they needed to most right there.
Yeah, all things being equal out there on the court, not a lot of advantage in the block category or the aces category. It was played pretty evenly, but it just came down to, you know, a lot of those plays at the end of the second set. The ref got very involved with calling a lot of doubles and a lot of lifts, and a miraculous comeback for Sponcil and Cannon, but not enough to get the victory. So Sarah Hughes, Kelly Kolinske finishing 3rd here in the Phoenix Championships.
The gentlemen, Team Chalk is